All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mainframe Open Education Studio User Group monthly meeting. I'm Devontae Hawkins, and today we have a great session for you today. And to kick things off, I'm going to pass it off to Niall and Sean.
Hi everyone. I'm going to be the host, the MC today with Sean. I guess you'll probably get more heckling than usual because Devontae's too nice to do that too, and I'm not. I don't know, Sean, if you want to say a few quick words before we kick off.
No, not too much. Thank you everyone for joining. Happy everyone's here and excited to talk about Nishka today.
Well, this is it. This is the star of the show. We've got joining here today Nishka Sardar. Nishka, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Nishka. I'm currently a technical consultant on the N to Z scheme at Vitali. So NZ new to Z. Um, so I'm a recent graduate. I literally graduated last week from the University of Wolverhampton. Um, my course was computer science, software engineering, and now I've started my mainframe journey.
And that you have, and I for one can safely say that I'm very lucky to work with Nishka. No one else in this session actually gets that privilege. Sorry, Devontae, sorry, Sean, sorry, May, but it's all me and the Vitali team's privilege here. But yeah, so I mean, Nishka, you've obviously done quite a lot already. You're almost doing yourself a service. You've not talked about your time in the Mainframe Society. I don't know if you want to touch on that as well.
Oh yeah, so during my time at university, I was an active member of the University of Wolverhampton's Mainframe Student Society. So in 2023 and 2024, I was a member of the society, and then in 2025, or the end of 2024, I became the president of the society. So I was involved in kind of organizing events and doing presentations, conducting meetings, and yeah, and mentoring as well. So that's the kind of thing I did in the society. I've attended quite a few mainframe conferences as well. Um, so I was like leading my society members through those conferences and things as well.
You attended, do you want to say which ones you attended? I know them,
Yeah,
but I don't know if
so
the audience.
yeah, so I attended GSE UK 2023 and 2024, and then I attended the Waves in-person event in April of this year.
And these experiences, would you say that they kind of contributed to you recently, like you say, getting hired onto this new to Z scheme, obviously pictured here with your new colleagues?
Yeah, I think the main thing was that the conferences and the experiences they allowed me to kind of um connect with people and like talk to people. So I got to talk to important people in different companies. I got to talk to lead technical managers. I got to talk to sales managers. I got to talk to the hiring team of Vitali and different other companies as well. So I think that definitely allowed me to kind of first of all, become aware of the graduate programs and the new to Z schemes, but also allowed me to make myself stand out um,
Yeah.
amongst everyone else at the conferences as well.
I wanted to ask
And
before that, sorry, Niall, before that first conference, what were you expecting it to be and how was it different to how it actually was?
So I actually had no idea what to expect when
Yeah.
I first went to the conference because what happened was um I didn't know like what mainframe meant. I knew that there was like a mainframe society and they went on trips and things like that. Because at the time there was a lecturer, Herb Daly. He was leading the society at that point. And I got told that there was a trip, a 4 day long trip outside of university. So I
Mhm.
was like, okay, let me just sign up, let me just go. And then I turned up and there were so many people and there were so many people talking about things I'd never even heard of. Like it wasn't normal like technology things that I could have just like grasped barely. So it was kind of like a new foreign it's like I entered a portal and I just kind of just went somewhere where no one was talking anything that I could understand. So yeah, it was really fun though. And the main thing I probably got out of that, probably not the technical stuff, but definitely the the people skills. Because I'd never had the chance to kind of go out and speak to people like that until I went to this conference. So definitely taught me how to act, how to talk, what to say to people when you're introducing yourself, um, and yeah, how other people talk to each other as well. I think when you like go and see that, you kind of get an idea of things. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very eye-opening being like, whoa, this whole world exists that I did not know
Yeah,
exists. Yeah.
Especially because Nishka was told by Herb it was a holiday, and she was packed her beach towel and her parasol, and turns out
yeah, for
she
some
was
reason,
stuck in the UK.
yeah, I thought a conference was like, I think I got confused between a conference and an exhibition because I thought there would be like loads of different like people doing like demonstrations of things, and it wasn't like that at all. It was just like loads of people doing presentations, but there was so much choice because there's like 10 presentations going on at the same time for like 4 days straight, and then I didn't know what the different streams meant, so I just attended the ones that sounded the most interesting, and then I just turn up and just have no idea what they were saying.
A whole lot of acronyms and abbreviations that meant nothing
Yeah,
to you.
yeah.
Don't worry, they won't mean anything to you for a few more years to come, but that's the nature of the beast. But I mean, this is it. You've sort of, even from that first time you came to, GuideShare UK, you've always taken every opportunity that comes your way, and I think that's something that, I know I encourage a lot of sort of students, a lot of younger people, because I always say you never know when that opportunity is going to come up again, and if you miss it, it could be kind of gone for quite an extended period. But I mean, yeah, you've taken quite a lot of opportunities. You also joined us with Zaid Darsot on the TMC podcast from Mainframe Society, and I mean that was a fantastic conversation. I learned a lot listening to you, and I think you did such a great job of representing not only Wolverhampton, as a kind of university, not only MASS as a student society, but also yourselves and just the kind of youth of today, like what you're capable of.
Thanks.
And then you're very modest and quiet there. But that's okay. So I guess that leads us into our questions today. So we've got a few questions to run through. I guess like first things first, sort of, is there anything maybe you want to touch upon in your kind of journey into this current role, maybe that you've not mentioned? I don't know if your student society, you've done things that you maybe want to outline a bit, or at university, things that you learned that have helped?
Yeah, I can tell you about what we did as a society. So, during my time as the president, I kind of so what we did was we had 1 semester roughly to kind of get as much attention and support as we could. I think our main kind of motive was the fact that we needed people to carry on next year. We didn't want our effort to go to waste. So our main thing was trying to convince enough people to stay, to join and to stay so that we could continue on for the next year. So what we did was we made a 12-week plan and we decided that we were going to have one consistent meeting every single week. And then after that, we then filled in kind of the gaps, or we like highlighted dates where we wanted important events. So one of the important events that we did was actually Niall came to our university to talk about cybersecurity and the value of data. So that was a really, really good event. So many people turned up, and it did so much for our society as well. There was so much engagement. People had turned up that we didn't even think would turn up. There were people who we'd never seen before who were suddenly like really interested in what we were doing. So that was one thing that we did that was really, really good. The second thing was we all went as a society. So from the Nile event, we had quite a few people join our society. We started doing Z Explore together every single week. So that was kind of me, Zed, and Leonard. All three of us took on a mentorship role, and we basically every single week were taking our society members through Z Explore to get their concepts badge. Quite a few of them got their concepts badge before the event in April at Barclays, which was hosted by Waves. That I feel like that allowed our society members to get closer together as well, because we all kind of got together as a group. We went over there, the committee members, so like me, Zed, and Leonard, we were all like leading them, telling them what to do. And then at that conference, obviously there were networking opportunities, and some of these people, they're in first year, or they've like just come from high school, they just started their university, so they had no experience of talking to professionals or just talking to people in general that they didn't know very well. So we took them through that, and we were like encouraging them, look, okay, go and talk to that person, go and talk to that person. And it was really good because we knew people from previous conferences. So we could easily be like, okay, yeah, that guy's okay, go and talk to him, or that guy's really chill, go talk to him. So like I encouraged a couple of our members to go talk to Niall, to talk to other
Mistake.
members of the Waves team. So yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a mistake, was it? Asking him to talk to me.
No.
It,
It was a good starting point, yeah.
it's actually funny because you're talking about transferring skills and also like succession planning, and these are actually really important things in our industry. With this kind of onset of people kind of getting close to retirement age, that's something that you guys did on a kind of micro level, just within the student society, and there's other organisations that are probably struggling in that. So I mean, I find it fascinating that that there's organisations maybe multiple millions of pounds or dollars in size, and sometimes they struggle with the things that you guys are actually adapted to, even just at a sort of small 3-year uni scale. So I think that's fantastic.
All
Sean, do
right.
you want to?
Absolutely, yeah. So then going on next, how did you get interested into the technical field? So even just way before even mainframe, which it only sounds like recently you even heard the word mainframe for the first time, but when you were younger and growing up, when did you first get interested in kind of in technology, computers, and all that fun stuff?
Um, I think it was probably when I started to learn how to code. So
Hmm.
I took computer science for my GCSE exams, and that's probably my first exposure to coding or programming or computer science in general. Um, so we got taught Python, and I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know what I liked about it so much.
Hmm.
It was just, I think it was it's the fact that I feel like I'm a very creative person, but also I like things um laid out in a very organized way as well. So it was just kind of very satisfying for me just to see like that you could create something, but then also have that kind of logical element to it as well when you create it. So I think that's what I liked about coding the most. Um, and then I didn't take computer science for my A levels, but I did decide to continue it for university. And then I did my degree in software engineering. Um, so that's how I got interested in the technical field.
This will lean a little bit into the next question too, but when you were looking for jobs, when you were in college and you were like, okay, kind of envisioning the job you would have out of college, was it more, I hope I'm coding, or obviously because you're a very outgoing social person, or being like, oh, I hope I'm able to be outgoing and social, and because now you're in the role you're in now, being a client consultant, getting to talk to people all day, was it like, oh, I hope I get to combine the two? Like, what were you envisioning as your first job out of uni?
My first job out of uni, I expected it to just be kind of like a software developer kind of role,
Hmm.
if we're being realistic. But um I did in my head, I always thought to myself that I would have always liked to be in some sort of like be involved in some sort of projects, like innovative project, like working towards something new or like new technology, which is kind of
Hmm.
funny because like now I'm
Yeah.
mainframe. But so I feel like that leans towards more on the research side, doing something new or like creating something. When I was at school, I was into robotics for a while. Um, so yeah.
With
Nice.
yeah, I mean, with all that kind of uh exposure to different sort of different kind of technologies and different aspects of, I guess, the computer science or IT kind of sector, the wider sector. You somehow, despite everything, in any direction you could have gone, you end up on mainframes. I know you touched previously about, like, Herb had introduced you to this conference. Would you say that was maybe the main reason you gravitated towards this industry? Was there anything that maybe else that contributed towards you kind of saying, actually, you know what, I really consider this as, like, maybe a future that's my future career?
Yeah, I would say that obviously if it wasn't for her taking us to the conference, I would have had no idea that this industry even existed. So that's obviously probably the main thing. But at the same time, I did get convinced to pursue it because there was quite a lot of uncertainty, I feel, with this field because there's not it's not well known, especially amongst young people. It's not well known, and so you don't see anyone around you with the same aspirations or pursuing the field. So it's very difficult. Then you start thinking about like, should I just do something that everyone else is doing, or should I do this thing, like this mainframe thing that no one else is doing and no one even knows about? Um, but I think for me, I just feel like there's a lot of opportunity at the moment in the mainframe field, especially with young people. There's so many grad schemes coming out, so many new to Z schemes coming out, and I think, and I feel like now was the right time for me to get into the field. I see a lot of potential as well, in the field because I also have an interest in AI as well. I feel like there is quite a lot of potential. I'm not sure what kind of potential, but I feel like there is something um that moving forward. And like people were saying at the conferences and things, the mainframes are not exactly going to go away at any point in time. So I feel like there's quite a lot of stability in the field as well once you do get in. Um, and also the fact that like what we're doing right now, there's also lots of opportunities to get involved with things outside of your day job as well.
Like
That's
this.
one thing that really,
Mhm.
really like inspired me or like motivated me to get into this field because I thought that there's just so many things that you can do outside of your day job as well. It's not just, you go to work and then like you come back from work or like you log off or whatever and then like you just get on with your life. Like you can do so many other things as well. And there's so many opportunities for you to like enhance your skill set and get involved in things that are not exactly work related.
Yeah, I think it's very relatable to have those doubts being like, wait, am I zigging while everyone else is zagging and being like, oh, I'm gonna go work in mainframe, and everyone's like, what is that? Why is that? and everything like that.
You know that there were people actually in my own class, my own friends who, um, so we went around our classroom like one time and we like told everyone that okay, like now Ashley, he's like a big person in mainframe. He's gonna like come to our university and like give a talk, and we were like, okay, it's free to attend. Why don't you just come and attend? And they were like, oh nah, see, I don't really want to do mainframes.
Hmm.
It's okay. I don't think I'm gonna get anything out of the event. And we're literally like to them. Obviously, we wanted people to attend, so that's why we were kind of begging a little bit. But
Well,
we
and we
were
bribed them with pizza, didn't we? So free pizza, that always gets people interested.
but it's the fact that these people like they wouldn't even be willing to wait around for a couple of hours after their class is finished just so that they
Hmm.
can hear a talk. Just because it's about something that they would just like never even consider. Like they wouldn't even consider it as a career option or anything, or wouldn't even be interested to find out what it is. Um so yeah, somehow I feel like that's why I think that the people who are going into mainframe right now are probably the most open-minded people because you have people who tell you, "Oh, don't go into mainframe. Why would you want to do that?" and things like that. Especially people who like work in other areas of IT.
Mm.
Um, and then there's like other students who just like they don't have any interest in anything that mainframe has to offer. So I feel like you have to be very open-minded to be able to overcome that, I guess, stigma and actually pursue something in mainframe.
It is very funny that you say that there's kind of this perception of people who are outside the mainframe that are like, oh yeah, it's going away. But then once you get into the mainframe, I mean, I remember my first week on the job, my coworkers told me they were like, they've been saying the mainframe's going to go away since before you were born. Like you're making the right choice here. So then I guess we'll just go into the next question. So then everything you did learn at uni, how did you apply that to kind of the opportunities you have now in the mainframe space and kind of what's similar, what's different between even just the courses you were taking at uni?
Um, I think, oh, this is a difficult one. Um, in terms of technical skills, well, to be honest, I've only really been doing mainframe training for about a month. or even less than a month, probably like 3 weeks. But I would say that the one thing I'm hoping that will be very useful is my like knowledge of programming concepts, and because I did software engineering at uni, so that's something that I hope will be my strength in mainframe as well. Another skill would, I guess it's just general IT skills. I don't think there's much similarity to what I'm learning now and what I learned at uni, to be honest. Um, Apart from, yeah, like I said, just like general knowledge on things. I think if you ask me maybe in a couple of months, I would be able to answer a little bit more. Um, but yeah, in terms of soft skills though, I do think that what I did at uni, giving presentations, doing mentoring and things like that will definitely help me in mainframe. Because I do intend to build my network a lot more. Um, Not just with people who are more senior than me, but also people who are students. I want to help them get into the same position that I'm in. So yeah, I think it's quite nice like um to have people uh who are the same age as you also doing the same thing. And yeah, I would like to get in touch with other people who are doing like internships or grad schemes in different companies too. I think that would be quite fun.
Yeah, I remember, at least for me personally, I wouldn't say it was a challenge, but it was definitely an adjustment that I went to school my whole life, then I went to uni, and then it's like, okay, I'm thrown here into a job, and it's like, wait, like, how do I learn this when I'm not just sitting in a classroom type of thing? It's like, I have this blank slate with all of these resources, but how do I personally kind of like look inward, and how do I best retain information and learn how to use things and things like that? So I kind of remember that adjustment too, of like, how best do I teach myself something, or obviously lean on coworkers and all the resources that are out there. But I remember kind of having that adjustment of like, wait, you mean I'm not sitting in a classroom and you're just going to lecture me and that's how I learn it? Like, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely the problem solving as well that I'm
Hmm.
finding is a very important skill right now.
Definitely.
I think it's also the kind of the kind of idea that when you go to university, you have to, and school and kind of every like facet of education, education establishments, you have to be willing to learn. You're not going to go very far at uni if you like refuse to actually kind of absorb the knowledge. If you don't want to be a sponge. And I think maybe you've learned different things, and maybe not all of it is applicable to your mainframe career. That's kind of not as important as your attitude towards learning. And I think that's one of the reasons why I personally was so impressed by the kind of student society at Wolverhampton, because like Nishka was saying, they weren't biased or bigoted against mainframes. They weren't saying, oh, it's some legacy technology that my dad's dad used to work on 80, 100 years ago in the Victorian era or beyond, on medieval mainframes. This was something that people were like, actually, do you know what? This sounds really interesting. I've listened to one speaker, or I've gone to one event, and I'm ready to soak that knowledge up where I can. And I think that is what's helping you build your skills now, isn't it, Nishka? Because obviously, you're doing a lot of training courses on this scheme. I know, you've got quite a lot to learn. Obviously, at such a kind of an important stage of your career, getting that foundation right is so important. But I mean, it's you're doing it the right way. Your willingness to learn shines through. Are there any things that you've learned so far that you've that have helped to kind of build upon your skill set? Are there any courses you've undertaken or any projects that you've kind of engaged in, even if it's soft skills rather than sort of technical skills?
So like you mean on the graduate scheme, like on the
Well,
engineering
like,
scheme?
yeah, so like with you've started your career and you're already taking opportunities like this. You're here in the student user group, and obviously you're doing these training courses. I mean, how is that helping you build your skill set? Like, what skills have you been building so far?
Um, Probably the main thing is probably my public speaking skills. Because I never used to be like this. So I think I don't know when I spoke to you about it. It was like so when I was in my first year of uni, I wouldn't even go into the lecture hall. If the lecture hall
Wow,
door was at the bottom of the lecture hall, I wouldn't even go in if it was like 5 minutes late because I thought
really?
everyone would be staring at me. And now I'm like I'm like giving like presentations and things at my university and stuff. So yeah, definitely public speaking. Um, Definitely I feel like it's also like the ability to explain complex things as well. like through my mentoring and through my teaching, and anything that I've learned as well on this graduate scheme. So I think so far we've learned, basically all we've done is like gone onto the terminal at the moment, and we've done a little bit of JCL. That's what we've done so far. So we're taking small steps. My brain is fried sometimes. Um, but I do intend to practice that by teaching and by passing that knowledge on. I feel like that's probably the best way that I learn, by absorbing knowledge and then trying to understand it in my own head, but then consolidating that by telling someone else or teaching someone else. So I
And
have
it is actually
intentions of
such a
doing that.
Well, it's such a rare skill, though, isn't it? Because, and I'm sure you might have experienced this with some of your lecturers, but, anyone can learn something to a very impressive degree, but whether they can then pass that knowledge down is a skill unto itself. I have had people who are clearly very, very talented and very gifted with, whatever software or hardware that they're kind of familiar with. They can't teach. And I'm not saying that to be harsh, they just can't teach. And I think that's such an important thing. The communication skills that you're building are going to take you so far in your career.
I apologize in advance that I'm going to go a bit off script. How did the question isn't on here? How did COVID affect your schooling and your uni experience?
Okay, so I was in I was in year 11, so I was around 15, 16 when COVID hit. So I was actually the year when my GCSEs got cancelled. So my GCSEs got cancelled. So I didn't take any GCSEs. So actually I didn't sit my computer science paper at all. And then
All that
after
revision
that,
for nothing.
yeah, I know, I know. And then a couple of months later, I started my sixth form. So my whole of my sixth form was pretty much um at school. Well, except for my first year of sixth form was like kind of half online. But I think the main way that it affected my schooling, like I said, was I had all the textbooks and everything. So mainly I learned from textbooks rather than lessons at school anyway, and because I'm quite slow at like taking things in. So I used to read the textbooks a lot. So I had that. That wasn't an issue. But I think the main thing was that I just became extremely introverted. I like genuinely, I even when I went to school, if we went to school for like half a day or something in sixth form, um I would literally just sit there and talk to no one because I would just be like a beat in my head. I don't know if you guys have heard of like maladaptive daydreaming. This is seriously off topic, by the way.
No,
But
we love this. This is the fun part.
So anyways, yeah. So that yeah, so sixth form was kind of weird for me, but I think by the end of my sixth form I opened up quite a lot and I took my A levels and things and I joined university, so it wasn't too bad. I don't feel like it affected me in the way that it may have affected someone who was a little bit older, like with their university or their final exams. So yeah.
Very interesting.
You want to do the next question, Sean, as well?
Yeah, sure. So then I guess what specifically brought you into the mainframe community? I know you mentioned earlier kind of hosting those events at uni. When you were talking about Niall showing up and hosting, I was imagining like billboards of him and like people drawing like Sharpie mustaches on him and like the angry eyebrows and things like that. Yeah, so then I know you're brand new. So I mean, but even what you're doing right now is an example of supporting the community, and then how do you intend to continue supporting it?
So I intend to kind of contribute at my university. So I live in Wolverhampton. I've always been in Wolverhampton like my entire life. So my uni is literally like 20 minutes walk that way. Um, so obviously I intend to continue to support them and engage in whatever they're doing. Um, I'd also like to be in contact with a lot of other universities as well. So I've been connecting with, um, on the student ambassador program. Um, so there's a lot of student ambassadors that have been accepted recently. So whenever I see a post like that, I just connect with the person because I just want to know what everyone's getting up to, like across the world. So I'm trying to connect with as many student ambassadors as I can. So if anyone's watching and is a student ambassador, make sure you send me a request. So
Yes,
I
that's
don't.
not that. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's an
So I know
IBM
you're watching.
IBMZ student ambassador, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
through IBMZ. Yes. Okay. Just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure you could throw that in there in case anyone's watching. Yeah, I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, that's one way. Mostly obviously because everyone's around the world, I'd probably show my support through social media. But definitely with the people that I can reach physically, I would like to show my support in person as well. Or maybe do some like teaching sessions or mentoring sessions over there as well. That would be quite good. Yeah, because when I was a student, I didn't even know what the mainframe terminal looked like. Everyone used to show me that picture of like the green screen, like the intro screen, and I used to be like, okay, then what's after that? So yeah, so maybe I could I don't know, but maybe I could just show them what it's like or something like that, so they actually understand what it's like or like where you write code and things like that.
That's such a funny point though, isn't it? Because like we probably do have a bit of I'd say an image issue, not in terms of like necessarily perception, but in terms of like people can't envisage what we do. When we say we do these things, they're trying to apply it to, oh, so it's like this on Windows. I'm like, well, yeah, but not on Windows. And so it's like, well, how do you reconcile that? I do think that's a really fantastic point. Like we probably ought to be able to show people what we're doing, and even things like you don't need a mainframe to understand Rex. Like people could start learning Rex in parallel to learning Python, because a lot of the same, I guess, sort of general concepts will apply to each language. It's sort of like if you can learn one programming language, it's not so hard to learn the next. And I think, yeah, that's a fantastic point. I mean, I think it'd be great to have. I know Devonte's was a Z student ambassador, and then for people like you who were students at this local university, to go back and teach and have that kind of mentor, fostering and mentoring the next generation. I think that's great. And I guess like because you've touched on some of the events that you've been to in the past. I know some of the events that you're looking to sort of do in the future. But do you want to tell our audience, because you've literally done a talk just earlier this week, and you've been accepted to do some later this year, haven't you?
Yeah, so I did a talk 2 days ago at the Waves Summer Surf. So that was about how to run a mainframe student society. So I was basically giving advice to students or anyone who's really interested about how to run a mainframe student society. Just like basically, oh, this was alongside my two committee members, Leonard and Zed as well. Um, so what we did was we basically we were just kind of telling people, well, we were addressing, I guess you could call it a dilemma of getting student engagement, because we found it really, really difficult to engage students in the past year. Um, Mainly because of the points we've already talked about how people like don't care because they've like never heard of a mainframe and they just like want to do like full stack development or something. And I don't know. And then they're like, okay, yeah, mainframe, nah. And so we found it really hard to get members, and we're just basically giving advice on how to actually describe what a mainframe is to someone who has like such a limited attention span, or someone who's not from a technical background. Um, and also just like how to reach as many people as possible, because that's really important, I feel, when you're trying to get people who are interested. Let's say even if like 1% of people are interested, then if you reach 500 people, then that's like 5 people. So I think it's about like more of the breadth of your message, like how far your message goes, rather than like just like going up to a couple of people each time and being like trying to convince them to join. So that's what we were trying to say. And just yeah, just to basically like tell, oh, well, any students who are watching, to just like kind of do what they want to do with it as well. Because obviously this running a society and doing all of this, if you're like an IBM-Z student ambassador, or if you're running a society, or if you're like just working towards your own thing, it's about enhancing your CV and about increasing your employment at the end of the day. So you're trying to do things and you're putting yourself in a leadership position so that you can help yourself at the end of the day. So yeah, that's what the talk was about. And then also we're doing the same thing at the GS UK conference in November. I'm also doing a talk with two people from IBM. So John Baker and Eddie Rowe, who I think he's just finished his degree apprenticeship at IBM. So we're doing a talk about AI on IBM Z. So that's fun.
So I think that's great, isn't it? Because you talked earlier about how you're interested in AI, and it's kind of come full circle. You've got this opportunity within what, like 4 months, 5 months of starting your kind of new career, to be talking about that with some, quite prominent people in this industry, John and Eddie, quite well known, and you're there with them, doing that session. I mean, that's fantastic. And I think that just goes to show that, like, this is an industry where advocacy is not only encouraged but supported. We don't just say, yeah, that's great, good luck, have fun, and the world's your oyster, not my problem though. It's like, well, actually, let's do this together. Let's co-chair a session. Let's like write some slides together, and I think that's great. And I stand by the fact that I find it really inspiring that the students like yourself and Carl Presley and these other people who are so new to this space, and yet they're making their kind of mark already. They're not just sort of kind of hiding behind the scenes and just sort of tinkering away in the background, but they're like, I'm here to really play a part here.
Yeah, I agree with Niall that it's very cool. It's very encouraging to see people as enthusiastic as we are, and kind of treating this as more of a career and what they want to be doing, instead of just a job, like you had mentioned earlier, Nishka, where it's kind of like, okay, like I just do my 9 to 5 and go home type of thing. So that's what makes the mainframe space so unique and so cool, and why we love it as much as we do. So if you were to talk to those current students at uni, what would you say to those who are considering a career in mainframe space, or those who, let me reword this, those who are completely shutting down and not even 1% considering a career in the mainframe space? What would you do to convince them? Or what would you, not even convince, what would you say to them?
What would I say to them? Well, to be honest, if someone's already got their mind made up, what I've learned from my experience is you genuinely cannot really do much.
Yeah,
to
just
change
let
their
them.
mind. Just tell them that they should probably consider being a little bit more open-minded
I like that.
and look into other areas of technology. But if they have their goals, then you know what, that's good for them. If they have their direction that they want to take, that's good for them. But I'd say for those who are not too sure, or those who are open about looking in different directions, I would definitely tell them not to write off mainframes completely. I would consider them to look into it a little bit, because I also feel like there's a lot of history involved in mainframes as well that you may not exactly get in other areas of technology. That's probably another thing that like drew me towards mainframes as well. So yeah, definitely there may be something, if they look into it, there may be something that they do like. But I would also say that to those people who have an interest in mainframe, not to completely shut off every other area, because that doesn't make them any better than those people who have their mind closed. So I would just generally generally advise all of those students just to keep your mind open, and just, if there's an opportunity to learn, then take the opportunity to learn. If there's an opportunity to do something in a certain area, then do it. And yeah, it's all about basically improving your skills and improving your personality to basically, at the end of the day, just get a job. If we're being really real, we just yeah. But also just also look around and find something that you enjoy as well. I'm really enjoying mainframes at the moment. I think it's really cool, and I like the idea that there's a long road ahead. I think that's quite a nice thing, that you won't be an expert anytime soon. So at the moment, just keep going and just keep learning everything you can. That's what I'm telling myself right now. And that's probably what I tell students too.
That's it. I mean, you sort of hitting the nail on the head there. This is an industry where there's so much to learn, and you shouldn't anticipate being an expert, on year 1 or even year 2, or maybe even the first sort of, single digits, or even two, first few sort of decades worth of time. But it's great in that you are always going to learn something. There is so much to learn, so much to kind of grow with. And if you're in that growth mindset, if you're in that perspective that, like, I want to learn, I'm here to learn, I don't want that kind of fast catharsis of being an expert, with sort of one or two attempts, I think there's so much that you can learn and achieve, and so it's so fulfilling. And I guess you touched on like a few of the points for kind of our last question there, the sort of do's and the don'ts. So you're saying sort of don't be closed-minded, don't be an elitist, kind of equally. You know, don't write off the mainframes, but don't act like there's nothing that mainframes can learn about other technology. And I guess in the same way, you know, you've touched on some of the do's, but you know, sort of, you know, be interested in the history, like read up, because actually there's a lot more that's gone on there. I mean, how many computer systems can say that they were involved in, you know, the first manned, you know, lunar mission? One, you know, Microsoft can't, you know, Windows can't. You know, sorry, MS-DOS, eat your heart out, but you know, the mainframes were there for that. But are there any other do's and don'ts maybe that you'd like to touch upon? Anything else that you'd say? You know, you're, for example, very interested in taking every opportunity that comes your way. You know, every opportunity for growth and progression. Is that something that you'd encourage, like as one example of a do?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, everyone should take every opportunity that they get. There's always something to learn, I think, from every experience. So even if it's a good experience or a bad experience, there's always something to learn from that. I've definitely had good experiences and bad experiences, while running my mainframe student society as well. So yeah, that obviously that didn't put me off from pursuing mainframe or pursuing anything. So yeah, everything is all about learning. I think the main thing is that I think don't get too impatient um with anything, because I know students are always like, you know, when I want to graduate, so I can like get on with my life. I want to do this, I want to do that, but just don't get too impatient and keep learning. I think that's the main thing.
That impatience, as in, like, you know, you've not even finished uni and you're looking forward to pre-drinks. You've not even finished pre-drinks and you're looking forward to the afters. You know, sort of that impatience, right? I think
I
those
guess.
are really great. Oh, sorry, Nishka.
No, I just said I guess.
Yeah. I think those are really great answers though, and I think you're right. You know, it's such you know, it's such a matter of balance, isn't it? It's about a healthy kind of was it homeostasis? You know, trying to have that healthy balance across everything. You know, do take opportunities, don't burn yourself out. You know, do be open-minded, but don't be an elitist about. You know, do consider this, don't be an elitist about it. And I think that's kind of true of everything in life. You know, we all just ought to find a healthy balance, really. So no, I mean, fantastic points discussed, and if people are interested in learning more, you know, about Nishka, there's obviously, as we touched upon, there's the sessions that Nishka's just done for Waves, which was recorded. That will go live at some point. There's the podcast, which Nishka's involved in, and I'm sure, Nishka, you're more than willing to have people like message you on LinkedIn and discuss topics as well, right?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Brilliant. No, I mean, it's been a pleasure. And I think this is kind of what the kind of the, you know, with the Open Mainframe project, this is kind of something that we're also and all of us are here on this kind of call today are passionate about. You know, this idea of having the kind of student user group, the open mainframe open education, you know, this idea of kind of knowledge sharing, of kind of community collaboration, of kind of giving back to people, and yet also moving forwards. I mean, you know, Devonte, I don't know if these are some of the points that you want to elaborate upon more. I think people are sick and tired of hearing my voice.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nishka, for sharing your story, and I really do relate to you a lot, given that I started out with mainframes when I was a student. Like now said, being as a student ambassador and in trying to convince students to join mainframes is definitely not an easy task. So, but I think that a lot of people really enjoy hearing you talk and hear your story, and hearing like, hey, I did it, so that means that you can do it too, right? I think that that's something that's really important. And we do have a couple of comments and questions in the chat. So we do have a little bit of time left. So if anyone wants to ask any questions to Nishka, feel free to put it in the Q&A and we'll be sure to answer it. But Kathleen says that she loves your perspective of the long road / game of learning. There's so much to learn, but also understanding to take it one step one step at a time is always important, to not get overwhelmed. And I think that that's a great piece of advice. And then Someone has a question. So, being a part of the younger generation coming into the mainframe community, did you believe that with the experience that older mainframers have, did you see that as like a challenge when you first joined this community, Nishka?
Um, I think the mainframe community in general is very friendly and they're very nice to people who are less experienced and younger. Um, I've never really felt like, someone was like trying to say, "Oh, you don't know anything." Like no one's ever done that to me, in the mainframe industry. So they're very nice, they're very welcoming, and they they're very patient with questions as well. So if
Mm.
I asked a question, like I asked my mentor a question today, and it was like we were both trying to figure it out together. So so um, yeah, I would say that. Wait, let me just go to see the question again. Um, yeah, no, that everyone's been very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, yeah, I definitely do agree. I haven't met I guess, mainframer that never wanted to talk about what they do and their job and be able to teach, people things. And I think that that's one piece that's really special about being a mainframer is that we're all teaching each other, whether we're in the same fields or not, right? I think that we can all learn something from everyone, right? And it's great that students especially get to go to like conferences like GSE UK, share the Waves events and attend them. So now you can be able to be in that forum. So I think that's really great. Before I talk about MOE, I am gonna, ask if there's any more questions. Feel free to put them in the Q&A. And then Taylor, did you have any questions or comments that for Nishka?
No, I think her experience was amazing to hear about, and I really appreciate your time here. We learned a lot about you, and I think I see a very promising future career in the mainframe for you, and I hope other people learn to feel the same way as you do about the mainframe who are on this call. So thank you for your time, Nishka.
Thank you.
Yeah. How about you, Sean?
No, not at all. Great job, Nishka. The very fun hour flew by. If anyone has any questions, any comments, I won't volunteer Nishka, but I will volunteer the rest of us. Reach out to us on LinkedIn. We're more than happy to answer. All of us are active on LinkedIn. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah. Please do, Nishka. And then also, if you're talking to students, invite them to this webinar. We definitely, want to get more people involved. And then also, if just like you said, what you're speaking with about AI and Z coming up soon, feel free to let us know. And we can also share that with the audience here. But diving into mainframe open education is something that everyone on this panel, really does care about. Really does care a lot about, and we want to create a open source knowledge sharing community where we can share open source mainframe open education with people that are new to mainframes in the middle of the career or are veterans in this space, right? And we definitely need people to start contributing today. So now if you can go to the next slide.
Sure, sorry.
All right, there we go. We actually do have a open mainframe education Gitbook. So this Gitbook is structured into 5 different chapters from foundational mainframe technology to different career path opportunities, and then also we're always looking for future topics and suggestions. So if you have an idea that you want to contribute, let anyone on the panel know, and we'll be sure to get you at it. And next slide, Neil. You actually do get to earn a contributor badge. So you can share this badge on your LinkedIn profile with your network, and then also help develop new content for us. We're always looking for new topics. So if you have a topic that you definitely want to share with the mainframe community, let us know. We'll be glad to help you. And then also we're also looking for ways to kind of create the content more, I guess, versatile, right? You can do like videos, images, one pagers, TikToks, whatever you find the best way to learn, we definitely want you to help contribute to that. And I see that Kathleen has posted in the chat. So thanks, Kathleen. And yeah, we can't wait to see, what you guys contribute. And now I think I'm gonna pass it back over to you to talk about some of the upcoming Waves events.
Yeah, so thank you, Devontae. I mean, obviously what we're trying to do with the Open Mainframe project and what we're trying to do with Waves actually have quite, you know, as a Venn diagram, quite a big overlap in terms of making education and knowledge accessible and making it kind of intuitive. And so one of the things that, you know, I put the X as if there's this kind of grand collaboration, but basically this idea that, you know, the Open Mainframe projects have their summits, and then Waves currently have this summer surf, and these are all opportunities that we would really strongly encourage our kind of audience, our viewers, whether you're watching this as a recording or whether you're watching this live, to look into and give kind of you know, all due consideration to. Because ultimately it's kind of for your benefit. These sessions are designed to help you learn, help you kind of grow. And you know, we've got a range of fantastic speakers, you know, Nishka notwithstanding, obviously, presenting. So, you know, Nishka's done her session on how to run a mainframe student society, as she talked about with Leonard and Zaid. And that was fantastic. As I say, that was recorded, so that should go hopefully live either towards the end of August or kind of sometime in September. And there's multiple days coming up with this event, and they're actually scheduled at such a time that they should each day is kind of slightly off. So I think Mondays started later and kind of finished later, Tuesday slightly earlier, Wednesday slightly earlier, and every week we kind of move it forward a bit to adapt to different time zones. So I think you know, and as I say, they are recorded as well, so hopefully these will be kind of digestible and accessible to anyone and everyone. But we would encourage you to have a look, because I think there's a lot to learn, and I know that, you know, there's some really great speakers that I'm looking forward to watching in particular. So yeah, that's all from me. I think unless I've missed anything, Devonte, do holler. But otherwise, I guess, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining us, and be sure to come back next month where we're gonna have another great guest speaker. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nishka. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.